Hey tribe, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. Welcome back. Today we're leaning into our inner Tinker Tom. You know, that part of us that just loves solving little RV mysteries, tightening up the home base, and upgrading things so life on the road feels smoother, smarter, and a whole lot more fun. And so, because we're heading into the quartzsite season, and let's be honest, between the chilly evenings and the early sunsets, and before we hit the time for long conversations around the fire, this is prime time to dial in your RV entertainment setup. So today, I'm walking you through how I upgraded Henry with a brand new soundbar and Fire TV. What worked, what didn't, and one thing you absolutely should not cut inside your RV cabinets. Ask me how I know. Stick around, because if your inner Tinker Tom is anything like mine, you're going to love seeing how this all comes together, and you might walk away with a new project for your own rig. Let's first of all thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you taking your time to watch my videos. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. If you think you are, double check to make sure. And a big shout out and thank you to all of my channel members. If you're interested in participating more fully in the tribe, you can join. Click the link in the video description down below or up here on the screen someplace. But most important, thank you for watching the videos. And if you don't want to spend money but you want to help out, the best thing you can do at the end of this video is watch another one. There'll be something suggested at the end of the screen for you, or a whole playlist. We could do that. Cool. All right, let's roll the intro. We're going to get right into this.
Wake up with the sun in our eyes. Sally forth, no need for goodbyes. Journey calls, let's roll the dice. Every mile a new surprise.
Hey tribe, Sally here. Hope you're having an amazing and fascinating day. I know I am. And I have quite the Amazon haul here. In fact, this isn't even all of it. All right, next up, I've got this pile of boxes I'm going to deal with. This is the Amazon Fire Stick soundbar. And I'm hoping two things. One is that I can get rid of the existing DVD player, which I don't need. Don't like, and just use this instead. And we're going to do a little test before I get committed to it, but it'll work this way. Here's the TV, and this is going to mount beneath it, and I got a set of brackets to do that with. I guess it'll go this way, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it goes this way. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I got a set of brackets to mount it with. And I also have a new Fire TV stick. And the reason I did this is it was on sale for a great price. And it's got a faster processor than the one that I have currently. So my current system, I have this enormous home-style plug-in DVD player. And the only reason it ever turns on is to be able to drive the surround sound speakers that are mounted in the ceiling. But I don't think the voice quality has been awesome, and mostly I listen to YouTube, I watch YouTube videos and Netflix and stuff like that. I don't think these speakers work all that well for me, and this is all 2017 tech. So we're trying a little upgrade, and so for right now, I'm going to do my first test. Where's my remote? I'm going to do my first test. This is using my, I think it's a 2021 Fire TV. And I'm watching a YouTube video.
13 months ago, I bought this house for $1. It came with half an acre of land around
and
it.
this
It was
is
originally
our
going to be burned down as practice
test
for the
of
fire
my
department,
existing
but 13
sound
months
system.
later, it is now my dream home. Today,
Now,
I'll be showing you the full start-to-finish process
I'm going to hook
of
up the
transforming
new
exterior
Fire TV
and turning
first.
the half an acre of land surrounding it into an
See if that
oasis.
makes any difference, and I don't believe that it should. But then after that, I'll hook up the soundbar, and we'll see what kind of difference we get turning off the DVD player. And in fact, let me turn off the DVD player now and just revert to the sound that comes out of the TV.
It's
So
now Friday
this
morning.
is the sound that
wind
comes
is
out of the
mostly died down.
TV.
There are still some gray clouds, but it's not raining, so hopefully my dad and I can get the roof completely done. All we need to do is put a cap.
And let's see if I can turn that up a little bit more. But you can tell there's a big difference in the quality of the sound from the TV itself. Alright, so we're going to swap out the Fire TVs and then come back. Hopefully I can find the same video. Well, I know I can. I may just have to go look for it. So we'll see. Alright, so this is the new Fire TV stick. And temporarily I have it plugged into my... this is not the kilowatt brand, but basically it's a kilowatt. And so it says it's drawing 2.4 watts. I'm going to be interested in seeing if that goes up when it actually gets plugged into the TV, because it's not drawing any power right now. So, hang on. One of the things that I had read recently when I was researching all of this stuff was that you really should plug the Fire Stick into a wall outlet instead of what I'm doing currently, which is... Oops, let me turn this around. So this is my existing Fire TV stick, and I have the power running from here into the USB on the TV, so I don't have to have it plugged into an outlet, which means I'd have to run it through this hole to be able to do that. And so I may try it both ways. Theoretically, you get better performance if you're going directly into a wall outlet, and I do have one available. So I can do that if I choose to, but we'll see. We'll see how that works out. The size of the new one appears to be about the same physically as the size of the old one, but I think the new one has more memory, and it definitely has a faster processor. So I think the first thing we're going to do is swap that out. Let's take a look at the remotes. The new remote is on the left, the old remote is on the right, and the biggest difference I see is that Hulu has been swapped out for Peacock in the main buttons, and oh, interesting, we've got up, down, and plus and minus, whereas here all we have is plus and minus. Mute is the same, whatever this does, which I have no idea what that does actually. And then it looks like these two buttons are new, so I don't know what they do. I guess we'll get that figured out. But otherwise, it looks pretty similar. This one's just a bigger footprint. Welcome to the electronics cabinet, where all of the entertainment-related stuff lives. And looks like that's pulling less than a watt of standby. So it could be that getting rid of this... Yeah, look at that. Let's try this again. I've got the Fire Stick unplugged again. I'm just turning on the TV. Yeah, now the TV's firing up. Whew. That makes more sense. Just jumping in while I'm editing here because it's a little bit confusing. I cut out a whole bunch of footage to save you some time. The short version is, when I started this, I plugged in the wattage reading device into the electronics cabinet first, plugged in what I thought was the TV, and it was drawing 14 watts. Couldn't figure out why the TV wasn't turning on. Well, the TV wasn't turning on because the TV wasn't plugged in. I had actually plugged in the DVD player by mistake. So basically it looks like removing the DVD player removes at least 14 watts worth of power draw during this scenario when it's in operation. So that's pretty cool. And the Fire Stick is powering up. So I'm going to have to do the things that need to be done to set up the Fire Stick, and I don't think you really need to see me do that. It's pretty easy to do. Now, I had actually thought about buying a new TV too, because this is a 2017 TV. But the truth is, in this size, I'm not going to get a whole lot of difference in terms of, you know, what I get out of it. does seem to load a little faster. Kit, don't do it. What you doing? Okay, so my next thought is that do I have the batteries in backwards, which is completely possible. So let's check that. Okay, and then we're going to press pause play, and we're going to choose English, and we're going to set it up with our phone by scanning the QR code. Okay, so it says make sure your device is plugged in nearby and in setup mode. Set up your Fire TV stick. Next. Do not turn off or unplug your Fire Stick. We gotta do this. I have to activate my hotspot so it'll find it, because I'm not running Starlink at the moment. So now we're doing rescan network. I'm going to try to manually enter it, I think. Doing this when you're doing it on your phone, guys, is when you're using your phone as a hotspot, is much more difficult than just being able to select your network. Because I have to type in my phone name and then the password. And I'm not showing you that because, of course, I really don't want you to see that. Okay, so we're connecting to my phone, hopefully. Let me put that back in the correct thing. So that my hotspot is sticking up. Should take less than a minute. We'll see. In worst case, I'll plug in Starlink and let it connect to that first. It should be asking me for a password. Scanning for networks. Ah, there we go. So let's select that. And then we're going to put in the password, which I guess I can't just copy, unfortunately. Alright, so I typed in the password and I hit it from, and now we'll choose connect. Connection successful. Checking for updates. It always does this every time you set up a new device. Updating your Fire TV. 8 minutes remaining. I'll get back with you when it's done with this. Still waiting for the update, but I thought I'd share the operating wattage seems to be about 40, 41, 42 in that neighborhood while it's actively doing things. So that's good to know too. And we're going to check this again with the soundbar once we get that set up. Now, of course, one of my hopes is that I'm going to be able to get the cables for the soundbar run through this hole. It's going to be a little bit hit or miss because there's a lot of stuff in there. So the first thing I'm going to do is hook up the soundbar, make sure it works. And then once I do that, I can remove this red and white one and the yellow one, and probably this HDMI cord, and pull all of that stuff out of here, and then just rerun the cables. What's this one? Oh, this must be what I've got all that excess wire in there in the cabinet for right now. So once I make sure that the soundbar works and I'm happy with that setup, then the next thing I'm going to do is remove all of these cables. I'm going to remove the DVD player. And part of what I'm excited about here is that once I get the DVD player out of here, I'll be able to store my computer there when I'm parked. I won't travel with it there. But being able to put it there where I'm parked will be really nice and convenient and out of the way. So I'm pretty excited about that. We got 2 minutes remaining on our update. So I'm going to start reading the soundbar directions. while we're waiting for that to happen. Well, unfortunately, I got a message that the USB cable that I was using to power the Fire Stick into the TV here on the side that I showed you was not adequate. So I had to plug it into the wall outlet. I've got it in the kilowatt device right now. So it's pulling about 2 watts. And, oh, I guess now I get to start all over again. So press play pause. On the remote. Choose English. Really? I gotta do this again? I guess I do. Alright. That's interesting. It went through its whole update routine, and then I gotta do it all over again. Can I do it with one hand? Alright, set up your new device. Let's try this again. Choosing next, searching for devices, set up your Fire TV stick. We've done this once already. I don't think we're going to get anything new. So we'll just do this. Okay, we got through all of the Wi-Fi setup and software update stuff. And then we get the advertisements to try for free. No thanks. It did ask me if I wanted to register it to my account that it associated with me automatically, and I said yes. I'm saying no thanks to Amazon for Kids. Choose your streaming services. Get started. So, we're going to do Peacock, Plex, Hulu, Disney Plus. You have to go through all of this and then get down to continue. Alright, so those are going to be added. Require a PIN for digital content purchases. Require a PIN for other actions. I don't care about parental controls. Okay, I do leave the PIN one for digital content purchases so that I don't buy something by mistake. Enter Prime Video PIN. Oh, this is interesting. Alright, well, once again, I'm not going to show it to you. Okay, so I've enabled my PIN protection. Welcome to Fire TV. Create profiles. Customize apps. Decide what to watch with Find. Alright, so now we're going to see, do I have to sign back into everything? Let's just try Netflix first. And I'm sure that I do. Yeah. Alright, so, two things. You got to sign back into all of your accounts. So we're going to go through and download the accounts, install the accounts that I need to, and then I'll have to sign into each one as I'm getting ready to use it. I'm not going to do that right now. Home. But what I am going to show you is I'm going to go all the way over here to settings. I want to find the thing that allows me to rearrange the way that they appear on the home screen. So I guess I'll have to mess around finding where that is. But I like to rearrange it so that the things that I use most often show up first. Basically what you do is highlight the app that you want to move and then press the hamburger menu button on the remote and select move, and then you can use the arrows to move it to the position that you want it in. Alright, so I've established that the soundbar does actually work, although I have not been able to connect it to my TV yet because it needs the optical cable to do that, which means that I need to disconnect the DVD player first so I can get to the optical cable, This would have been a reason to buy a new TV, but I don't need to spend that extra couple $100. This should work. And if it doesn't work, I guess I'm buying a new TV. But I'm now going to go ahead and disconnect this DVD player and get it out of here. That's my plan. I'm not going to film the entire thing because I think that would be boring, but I'm going to show you what I did. So there's this little cable clip here that was screwed in here. I undid that. The wires were all electrical taped together, so I undid that. Here's another HDMI cord. Oh, that's the one from the DVD player. Duh, because I've got the one from the soundbar plugged in here. So now what I'm going to end up with, and I don't need this, because for one thing, the antenna on the roof is broken. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out too. I'm going to get all the wires out of here that I don't actually need. And then we'll be left with just the ones that we do need. And those are the ones that will end up getting clipped back together. So I got to pull these, but I'm also going to try and find a way to be able to pull the new cables through at the same time. We'll see how that works. All right, the first cable we're going to try and pull through is for the Fire Stick. And what I've done is duct taped that cable to the antenna cable. And I'm going to feed that back through. And Bob's your uncle. All right, so we got that one in. Yay for that. Okay, and then I got to get the sound bar. The HDMI stays where it is. I need to get the soundbar power cable in there, which unfortunately probably wants to come the other way. I don't know how. I'm going to have to try and hand feed that. Bummer. That's going to be more difficult, I think. Ow. There's a screw right there. Just cut myself on. I wonder if it'll be easier if I actually take this ring off and get the screw out of the way. This screw right here, I just about cut myself on. So I may pull the ring off, feed the cable through, and then put the ring back on. I think I'm going to try that. All right, I have to admit this is more of a project than I thought it would be. And I guess I'll get the dust off the back of the TV while I'm doing all of this too. So I've got everything disconnected from the back that we're not going to be using. Pulled the cables through there. I used duct tape to put two cables together and then pulled them through that hole in the wall to, I don't know if I can show you that hole in the wall. And then we had a whole bunch of these cable clips that were holding all these wires down around the inside of the cabinet, so they've all been removed. And that gets us over to that hole in the wall, which I think means that it's time to take this out. So I'm going to close this cabinet. Oh, I got to move some wires to be able to do that because they're blocking it. Pull this forward, disconnect cables from the back, and then we'll be pulling those through. Alright, well there's the DVD player, dusty, sitting over on my stove because I could never reach in very far to dust it off. It was being held in by Velcro, so that piece came off. This one is well adhered, so I guess it's going to stay here. And then we got all these cables I got to pull through from the other side. So I'm going to get busy on that. And we're going to be in the position where I think that, I hope, I didn't measure this. I hope my computer's going to fit in here for non-travel days. But, didn't check it. Guess we'll find out. If not, it's just a little empty cubby. And you know what? If the computer doesn't fit there, I can certainly put Kit's leash there, which is what normally would be where the computer is sitting at the moment. All right, cool. Let me get busy on that. Well, here's the pile of cables that I'm absolutely able to get rid of. But all of this stuff goes to a hole in the very back corner back there. I think this is all related to the satellite dish. So I think I could probably just cut it and delete it, but I'm going to do some research on that because I want to get all of this buttoned up first so that I can see the fruits of my labor. And this cabinet will be all tidied up, but this one may not be my computer location yet, but it might be. I'll look on that a little bit later. All right, let me just give you an idea of what we've got going on here now. So I mounted the soundbar brackets to the outside of the VESA plate because this plate does not have a quick disconnect. and I would have had to take the whole TV off to mount it to the inside, and it still would have been difficult to do. So I think that part's okay. The problem I've got with this is with the soundbar itself. I haven't found hardware yet that actually makes this secure. So we're kind of living with it hanging down further than I want it to be at the moment. And the next time I go into town, I'll go look for some different hardware that will do a better job. But the issue that I was running into is that this just keeps slipping off of the bolt heads because they're not big enough to contain it. So I think a different hardware will solve that problem. So we're pretty much there. I'm going to go ahead and hook everything up, and then we're going to run a test and see if we're happy with all the work I've done in what seems like it's been hours. Stand by. Well, here's the mess that is the cabling for the moment, but everything is kind of where it needs to be. As I mentioned, the soundbar is not quite where it needs to be. So we're going to continue our Fire TV setup, and you can see the soundbar is like cattywampus, whatever. I will get it straightened out, but I need more hardware to be able to do that. So let me finish the setup here, and then I'll tell you whether or not the soundbar works, because I think there's a problem with the optical output or input on the TV, which means I may just be buying a new TV after all. So we'll see. But let me finish this, and then we'll give you the final thoughts. All right, this was a lot of work. It was actually more work than I thought it was going to be, but I've just done my very first test, and I think it was totally worth it. I think I'm going to have less cabling overall to deal with. The optical port does work. It may jiggle loose in transit because I think it is kind of broken. And if it turns out to be a problem, I guess I'll end up getting a new TV. But for now, interestingly enough, the TV actually looks a little bit better. And I don't know if that's because the quality of the Fire Stick is better because I'm watching on the Fire Stick. So I don't know. But the soundbar is great. The fact that it's offset is going to make me crazy. I'm going to see if I can straighten that out a little bit while I'm waiting to get new hardware, because the offset is going to make me crazy. I know that for sure. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Would you do this? Do you think it's worth it? I'm going to flip the camera around. I'm going to show you all the mess that I have as a result of this project that I haven't finished cleaning up yet, but I will be getting to that momentarily. All right, check this out. So first of all, not only this, but I had a few other things come in from Amazon today, so I got all the trash to deal with. This is all the extra cabling that can completely go away. Leftover parts from the soundbar. More leftover parts from the soundbar. Some stuff that needs to go back up into the cabinet. Some stuff that needs to go to a thrift store. And I've got tools that need to be put away. So I got a mess to deal with yet, and I'm going to take care of that. How about you, Kit? You're glad this project's almost over, aren't you? Yeah, you did not have a great afternoon while I was messing around with all this stuff, but I think it was worth it. Well, I do indeed have most of the mess cleaned up. Most of it, not all of it. But I just did a test fit, and the computer does indeed fit up here, even with all those extra cables I haven't dealt with yet. And that means it frees up this area so I can put Kit's leash back here, which is where I really prefer to drop it when I come in the door, but instead, I've been dropping it on the floor. So there we go. I always keep a rag by the door so we can wipe the floor up if we come in wet. And I like to keep his leash there, so cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with this overall. We're going to see. That soundbar is pretty low. I hope I can get it up higher. I should be able to. On the advice of ChatGPT, I didn't just cut all of these cables, which I think are probably useless, and most likely at least useless in my current configuration, but there is the possibility that at some point, maybe I want to add a projector or something like that, or when I sell the coach, somebody else might want to put things back together closer to the way that they were. So for now, I have gathered them together and zip-tied them, and over here, actually, you can't really see it, but let's see if I can show you. Yeah, see that little hole? I managed to shove a lot of stuff in there because there's about 1.5 inch gap between this cabinet and that cabinet. And so I filled up that space with a lot of this stuff, but some of it I couldn't get over there and get it out of the way. So we're going to live with this in the meantime. I got the soundbar mounted yesterday and it feels pretty stable, but there's way too big a gap between it and the TV. So here's what I finally thought of today. I'm using the template that is designed for mounting it to the wall. So it shows me where the holes need to be. And now I'm going to take it off, move the hardware to the position, move this bracket and the hardware to the position that corresponds with the holes. And I should be able to get it up to a height that will be better and have that work okay. We're going to see. I'm going to work on that. Let's just see how it works out. Well, as you can see, we are still not 100% level. And part of it is just because of the size of the TV and the way the brackets work. And if you look right here, that's the eye for the remote on the TV. And I can't really get any higher up there. And even so, we do get a little bit of bracket overhang down here. I'm hoping I'm not going to hit my head. So all I have to do now is finish gathering these cables together. And I think one more zip tie here ought to do it. Keep everything up out of the way. And then, yeah, we'll be able to put it away. And this makes a much tidier package than it used to be. So I'm pretty happy with this overall. You can see, and I'll show you right here actually. So in this bracket, I am at the bottom of this rung, and in this bracket, I am almost at the top of this one. And I wonder if I could bring that up just a little bit more. I'm gonna give that a try. All right, I actually managed to get it significantly tighter. I still got to finish putting those cables together. But hey, overall, I think it looks pretty good. Hopefully I don't hit my head on the soundbar every time I get into the cab seat, but we'll find out. Well, although in general I'm very happy with the results, I really like the sound quality. I think it looks good. It no longer clamps into the bracket that holds it stable for transit. So I guess that means I've got two options. One is to unmount this and push this out further. That won't actually do it. Actually, no. What have I increased? I've increased the depth of this. I'm going to do a little measuring, see if I can get this figured out. But worst case, I'm going to end up running a bungee cord across the knob here and the knob over here with the TV pushed back against the wall for travel. Yep, I can live with that if I have to. We'll see how it goes. All right, tribe, that was a fun one. Anytime I get to lean into that Tinker Tom energy, I'm reminded how satisfying it is to make small upgrades that totally change the feel of RV life, especially here in Quartzsite season when we all spend a little more time cozied up inside. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the last Tinker Tom moment you had in your own rig? Was it a repair, an upgrade? What in the world is this wire doing here situation? Drop it down in the comments. You know I love hearing your stories. And if you're new to the channel, Tinker Tom is one of the 3 personas that show up around here. His counterparts are Practical Patty and Wanderin' Joe. But Tinker Tom is the practical, curious tinkerer that's in all of us, always ready to upgrade, adjust, or fine-tune something. All right, we're going to roll on out of here. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and enjoy the rest of your evening, tribe. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.